Thank you for tuning into White Centipede Noise Podcast. Please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. This podcast is made possible by viewer and listener support. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider supporting it at patreon.com/White Centipede Noise. White Centipede Noise is a label and mail order based in Germany, releasing top quality noise on tape, CD, and vinyl. White Centipede Noise is also the premier EU-based distributor of international noise. Visit whitecentipedenoise.com to see available label releases and weekly distro updates. Hello and welcome to White Centipede Noise Podcast. Today my guest is a guy on the forefront of extreme and experimental industrial and power electronics, a guy I've been in touch with for many, many years, another person that was kind of around for my first days of noise. Please welcome Mack Chami.
What's up, everyone? Hey, what's up, Oscar? Good morning, my guy. Or is it good afternoon for you?
Good, yeah. Good evening for me, and good morning for you on the west coast of USA to Germany.
Hell yeah.
So, like I said in the intro, we've known each other for a long, long time, and met kind of when we were both starting out noise projects and things like that. I would say around 2008, probably. Can you tell me about your earlier projects? Of course, now you're known for Kuffar, Terror Cell Unit, and God is War. Your kind of main things you were doing right now, but you've had a lot of projects over the years. Can you talk about some of those earliest ones?
Oh yeah, most def. I mean, it all really started with Kuffar and Bashir Jamail. And for those of you that don't know, Bashir Jamail was my harsh noise wall project at first, and then eventually started splintering off more into harsh noise. And yeah, I mean, that's where it all kind of started out in Chicago. Me playing around with tape decks and microphones and practice amps and, you know, the usual suspect of, you know, tools. Mm-hmm.
And what like introduced you for the first time to harsh noise? Because I mean, I know that's kind of a standard question for these kind of interviews, but for everyone, it's like, you don't just find noise, like, you know, as it's not a natural progression for most people. So I'm always curious to hear where people kind of first got their first taste of it and what led them to like explore it further.
I think that the first time that like, It's tough for me to like pinpoint an artist. Honestly, my memory is awful. My memory is shit. Just to give you a heads up. Yeah, it's super bad. And it's super bad with music. Like I used to be really on it when I was very young. Like, I mean, man, fuck, when I was like 16, 17 years old, it's like I could get down into like the liner notes, you know, and now I can't even remember fucking titles anymore. But that like, I mean, I want to say that it's like the first time I ever heard anything like that would be like on like the agoraphobic Nosebleed album, Altered States of America, because they have a bunch of noise and they definitely have what at least I would consider power electronics tracks, even though if they're only like 30 seconds, you know, I mean, it's very reminiscent of like, you know, Bloody Minded, you know, where it's just like a blast of like oscillations and full screaming over it, you know? So.
Yeah.
That's the first place where like I ever heard that. But like, if we're gonna get into like the nitty, like I guess you would say like the first artist that jumped out at me like immediately, I would say I learned was the Rita and Vomir. Those two were first that kind of just really like grabbed me and like pulled me in. I believe I came across or learned about the Rita, I think either like just from my friends in Chicago, I'd say. Nick and Will. Nick Della Croce is the guitarist and bong ripper, and my boy Will, who's he does Philly Family. He's a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Friends. But yeah, like they, you know, that was the Rita and Vomir for sure were my first, and definitely I bought the No Entertainment release, that Vomir release back on At War with False Noise or whatever.
Yeah, was that the one with like the 5 CD like booklet and the DVD case with the T-shirt and with the news?
No, it was just a single one. It was just a single one. I remember the artwork just grabbed my fucking attention because it was just like No Entertainment across that, and I'm just like, yes. I was pissed at the time, so I was just like, big fuck yeah. So yeah, that's where it kind of all started, I guess.
Yeah, No Entertainment. That's a phrase that like echoes through noise like history now. Like even Pat Yankee had a series called No Entertainment. Like we talked about that.
Oh yeah,
like,
dude.
He had like a Paranoid Time set he had like a Paranoid Time like set of tracks that was like 1 minute walls, and it's called No Entertainment. So that was like the kind of, you know, 2000 like mid late 2000s harsh noise era. Like I said, I call the Tronics era, and like the Rita and like that kind of stuff that was going on was definitely like a bit. That was like I would say that's my like. Jumping off point too. So you had like a harsh noise wall project. I remember that. That's Bashir Jamael.
Mm-hmm.
You had numerous side projects as well. We can touch on those a little bit also too as we go along. But in that time, who were some of your like first like formative contacts within like the noise scene or like the underground? You know, kind of molded your path. Like
just people that I was in touch with personally.
Yeah, people you were in touch with. Yeah, that kind of like had a.
I mean, it just immediately off the top is Sam from Phage. I mean, like,
yep.
I mean,
for sure.
He put out the first pro tape of mine, you know, like doing everything. I was so fucking thrilled. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing in the world. I was so excited. I mean, my God, fuck, you could have told me that I finally made it.
yeah. Which was that? Was that the split with like Persistence and Mourning? Was it?
No, dude. It's actually that was a KOUFAR release.
That was KOUFAR, right?
Yeah, but the one that I'm talking about was a split with that Full Crack Dome.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that fool's still active or not. I don't know what the deal is, but
I don't know either. That was like it's another classic product from that era.
I mean, he was another guy too that I was in close contact with, and actually he was supposed to do the KOUFAR release Beirut Rising, and like I remember I got to see one copy of it because his life fell apart or something like that in the wake of a batch or something like that. And yeah.
Standard.
Yeah. You know, it's fun. It's always an adventure in the early days. I tell you what, it's always just like, okay, who knows what's going to happen? You know, it's like sometimes it's like you gotta bang a gong and hope that the label won't, you know, release it.
Yeah,
that's why it was.
Finally getting a stack of like, you know, CDRs or whatever from someone is like, fuck yeah, like.
Dude, exactly.
Who wants to trade?
No, dude. Oh yeah, all the time, all of the fucking time. But I would definitely say Sam, and then you know, I became friends early on with Adam Jennings, that guy who did you know, Winners in Osaka. That's my boy. I miss him a whole bunch, man. I haven't seen that fool in over a decade. Just as well.
He lives in Japan though, right?
Yeah. I love the shit out of him.
Dismantle.
Yeah, he's the homie, you know. And I mean, definitely just like kind of getting in touch with him. Definitely, I feel opened up my eyes to a lot of other stuff too, because he was into like, you know, noisecore, and even then, it's like I hadn't even really had found that yet when I was first like you know, like you know, like talking with him and whatnot. So. Yeah, he put me on game with a bunch of stuff, and I mean, he was always down to be at a noise show. So
yeah. So that was Chicago times, and you were in Chicago for quite a while. Like, I wanted to ask you about this later, but I'm curious about it now. Like,
no, that's cool.
What role do you think like the city you live in has on like your artistic activities or musical activities? Because you were in Chicago for a long time, and kind of like there was that no coast.
Oh yeah.
Kind of, movement, or I don't know what you want to call it, but you kind of had this like crew and like a group of artists that were really identifying with this Midwestern no coast attitude, and then you moved to at some point you moved to the Bay Area, and you were in San Francisco or in Oakland, I'm not sure.
Both.
That one. Okay.
Yeah.
How have those different places like had an influence on your music?
Well, so in Chicago, it was I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but it was just like, it was a really kind of cool, magical moment, really, it was just, I don't know how to put it, I guess you could just say, like, I guess there was just this kind of energy around, like, I don't know, I could feel it in the air at shows, and it was fun, and people were getting into it. I just don't know. I don't know really how to explain it, because I mean, I'd never been a part of anything like that before in my life, let alone think that some like crazy ass phrase, that I was yelling at shows or whatever would like catch on or take off, but I love what it was. And I would definitely say it was a real special time in the Midwest, because I mean, I remember on the Tronics forum, and back in the day, you would look at the like where the sections of where the shows would be happening, what I mean? You could go through all those, and in the West, it was always the most happening. Most shows, like most options, like a Midwest tour was always like, oh, this is actually a very cool and viable and possible thing to do, just because so much was going on at the time, So I mean, I would say that it just, a lot of it was just really inspiring and encouraging, I mean, like, I'm definitely not going to say that I was some fucking knockout artist at that age, I mean, I can think back on some real embarrassing ass shows where I'm like, I could drink another beer and handle this. I remember I was sitting in my gear, like that bullshit, all that stuff. But, it was, I would say that it was just inspiring and really just like encouraged me to want to create, because I always wanted to do music, but I wasn't really keen on say like learning a guitar, learning how to play guitar, or, or had the capability to like have a drum set somewhere. So yeah. So, and then I went from that and I went to the Bay Area, and it was just a very, very, very kind of different vibe. And it sucked, man. Like, it wasn't fun, dude. No. I mean, like, this is like a fun part of the conversation where it's like, do I name names or do I just leave it as B? So
that's your call.
Like, I know, because it's like, dude, it's like I have fucking issues with fucking fools up there. Like, I don't. Yeah, man, I don't fucking. I didn't like how it was fucking treated up there, especially when I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do a fucking thing wrong. So it. But I'll tell you this much though, just being there though, it pushed me to just want to be the fucking best. Yeah. Just keep on pissing people the fuck off. Like, I thrive off that. Like, bit on that big Skepta energy. Always fuck the opposition, man, dude. Always, dude. Hell yeah. Like, that's always been a big driving force for me. And, and it's like the harder and shittier things got, like, the more I just like would just buckle down and just do music. I mean,
and I feel like that's, I mean, I never thought about it before, but I think that's definitely like must be a time where a huge amount of development happened in your music. Like, I mean, I've known your music since the early days, but like you said, like you've got a crazy work ethic, but it seems like that work ethic was really put to good use in the Bay Area, like maybe because of this like external situation, like external environment, that you just really like, you really turned up your music in every way, and seemed like you were working really, really hard on it. And
I mean, like, a bunch of that credit also, I mean, just straight up has to go out to my bandmate Sam from Terrace on You, because I mean that guy enabled us to be able to have a space where we could create and be loud as hell, and it's awesome. I mean, I miss. I really had a real good routine. Sam and I, we would have our 2 days off and together every Tuesday, Wednesday, and I would come over Monday night, and Tuesday, Wednesday were spent working on music. I mean, and we would just do it basically like throughout the daytime. By the time the evening come, it's like you're fucking exhausted. You're tired of, especially like once we got into Eurorack, it's like, dude. It's like, fam, you've been at that patch for 2 hours. Fuck it. Just like, dude, tear it all apart to start over, or let me have a go.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So I mean that was really cool. Yeah, I guess just being able to have that focus and having someone that was dedicated to that. Just constantly grind and just try and see what we could, just basically try and outdo everything we do, pretty much.
This episode of White Centipede Noise Podcast is brought to you by Screamin' Ride Distro and Absurd Expedition Label, Canadian-based source for experimental electronics, harsh noise, etc. Over 1,500 items in stock on all formats. Media mail shipping to the USA and affordable international shipping. Coming early 2022. Hermit Chick White Split Tape. 2 distinct vocal noise approaches from opposite coasts of Canada. Neural Objective Constraint Tape. Unreleased material from 1996. Mott and Violent Shogun. Mangle Tape. Split and Collaborative Tapeworks. Andrew Nolan and Misery Engine. Split Tape. Cosmic Industrial Dusty Noise Malaise. The Rita. Herschel The Shoot Tape. Sputtering Crunch of Obsessive Minimalism. Alex York Double Tape. Tape and synthworks for melancholy mood. Visit screaminride.com and absurdexposition.bandcamp.com.
So kind of going back to your projects, KOUFAR has kind of emerged as your main project. I mean, I guess maybe you would say God is War now, I don't know, but KOUFAR was for a long time your main project. Can you tell me like what that project is all about? I'm fairly ignorant to Middle Eastern politics, particularly like the nuances, as I'm sure many, Westerners are. But, you're Lebanese, and that's a very big part of your project and your I suppose your identity as a human being. Yeah. Can you tell me about the project first, like kind of what the goals are with that project?
Word. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you a breakdown bit by bit evolution of the project. I started that project when when pretty much I was very deep in the depths of like researching and like reading up on my background. I mean, I'll go ahead and say it because sometimes people still get this twisted. It's like I didn't grow up in Lebanon. I was born in America. But I have been there. I was there in 2006 and got evacuated. Got to experience that whole thing. That definitely, I would say, would be one of the biggest driving factors of me wanting to do that, for sure. And I wanted to be able to translate that some way,
that experience specifically?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of being evacuated?
Yeah. And also, too, my anger at Hezbollah, too, because, I mean, I felt that they were at the root of all of this. Granted, Israel is not going to, like, show mercy whatsoever if you fuck with them, I mean, I think on that day they killed they killed, I think, like 3 to 5 people and took like 2 people hostage. I mean, I remember that morning well when my dad woke me up and told me I needed to come out and watch the news.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't gonna just tell me what's going on. And he was like, you need to sit down and watch the news. So, you know, so, you know, I wanted to try and, you know, take that experience, or I guess you could say, some people will say, take that trauma and put it into something positive, you know? Like that.
Sure.
You know, so when I first started the project, I definitely came at it, I guess you could say, from like a very strict point of view from my background, which my family, you know, my father grew up in Ashrafie, and that is actually the town. That's like I want to say that's where Bashir Gemayel basically lived out his life pretty much. I mean, it's the stronghold of the Kitab party, you know, retired militia, etc. I mean, you know, that's the world he came from. And so it's like, I wanted to rep that and rep that exclusively, kind of, you know. I mean, I often compare it to like kind of like how Kendrick Lamar, you know, puts like gang stuff on his, you know, albums and whatnot, but it's like, he's not a gangster, but it's like he grew up, he comes from it. And it's like, just because I live in America, it's like, that doesn't mean that I don't come from that, like, whatsoever. It's like my you know, I don't know how else to put it other than it's like, that's just what it feels like for me as a first generation, you know, Lebanese American. That's just what it feels like.
Yes.
So,
yeah, of course.
So in the early phase of the project, you know, it was coming just from that view. That's right. I was comparing to how Kendrick Lamar was.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyways, though, as I grew up and I read more, you know, because I guess you could just say it's like, I don't know how to put it. It's like this bullshit idea of that there's good guys. There's heroes and good guys. And I slowly began to realize that all these people that I was glorifying, you know, on Kuffar, at least, it's like, dude, they're fucking shitty people. They just do fucking things. And it's like, now my views with Kuffar have shifted more from that. You know, because I guess you could say it's like, I mean, you know, it's like what inspired me at the time, and it's like genocide, Oregon, you know, etc. You know, more militaristic, you know, sketch acts, you know, like, because it's like that's part of that world. You know, I'm not really trying to like get into naming names, but it's like that's part of that world, and you know, that stuff, of course, was influential, and I was trying to like mimic that in many ways. But like, I just got to a point too where it's like I'm running out of things to say, and this is starting to feel disingenuous.
Sure.
It's like I said, it's like, what good guys?
Yeah.
Like, there are no good guys in the Lebanese Civil War or in any of those conflicts. You know,
right?
So,
of course. Yeah.
You know, the project has begun to shift to become more personal, you know, because I mean, like, I did, you know, Lebanon for Lebanese, and everyone had a conniption fit over the artwork, and still does, which I'm like kind of semi proud of, because it's like I managed to make so many fools upset. No one could tell me different on that. It's like I made one of the famous albums ever. Fuck everyone, like, and you know, I realized that it's like I like doing music, and it's like to just do stuff like that and be in constant conflict and not be able to do your art is just, I don't know. To me, it's like, it's stupid. It's like, it's stupid. I'm all about being and doing it live, you know, like that's where I think the real power in music comes from. I don't think it just comes from a release. I think it actually comes from doing it live, because lots of fools talk a big game on writing the album of the year, but like they get on stage and they can barely handle themselves. You know? So
it's true.
So that's, and once again, it's like, that's just like carrying over into like what Kuffar is now. It's like, you know, the Minority Report 2 was pretty much a pro-Palestinian album, basically. All protest songs. And I think I only included, like one personal song that's inspired from that Khalil Gibran story, which I love. That one's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love hyenas. They're fucking just nasty, gritty, just a beautiful, I don't know how to put it, just nature's garbage disposal. Like, just incredible. And to me, I love that they laugh out of anxiousness.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that. I like that the most. That's like, it's not about the good time. It's because they're about to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate.
Is that something you can relate to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You better believe it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Except I just don't. Cool. I don't have that same bite strength though. That's not gonna translate. That's just not gonna work.
So that's interesting. That's
but yeah. Oh, go ahead.
So continue to tell me Kuffar. It's interesting to hear about this development.
I was gonna say too. I mean, I did Middle Eastern Promises too, which, and that album was, that was a tough one to do. I mean, like, in all honesty too, it's like, that's my favorite. I think that's going to be forever my favorite, in terms of, I guess you could say, like, a conceptual album and release overall. And actually what makes that one so special is basically it's how God is War was born out of that project while I was on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was finding ideas from, I mean, it all comes from me reading Blood Meridian from Cormac McCarthy. While I was reading that, I was taking in, all this new stuff that I found to be very inspirational. And I was like, cool, I can apply this to Kuffar, but there's this other bit that I gotta be able to translate this somehow. Yeah. Cause I think it could work. And
is that like, so that's like thematics and imagery? Yeah.
I mean, like, there's some stuff definitely that will forever carry over. Like, for example, anytime it's like, there's a Kuffar shirt that was supposed to get done that says men are born for games. Mm-hmm. And I believe that it's like, I forget if I've done that I know it's going to end up on a God is War release.
Yeah.
Or something similar, I mean, it's just, there are themes that I find.
That's a quote from Blood Meridian?
What's up?
That's a quote from Blood Meridian?
Which one? The
Born for Games?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I read like half that book once, and then my book got lost, so I didn't finish it, but it's actually something I need to read.
It's a tough read. I mean, it's not just a simple sit down and gloss over. I mean, it's a 300 some page book that reads like it's like 800-900 pages.
Yeah.
I think it's powerful stuff. I'm sure some people would say it's
absolutely
cringy and this and that, but I tend to see a very universal message in it. And even though that message, I'm sure someone would be like, well, can you explain the message? It's like, no, dude, the message can't fully be fucking explained because I'm not some omnipresent being. I'm not the fucking judge from the book. I'm more like the fucking kid at best and can only hope that the ending is not the same as it is for me. I mean, for real. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's all I can hope. So I hate when fools do that shit. It's like, God damn it, when they just jump to that. It's cringe. It's like, oh, cool. We just cool. We just shut down the fucking conversation. Like, God fucking damn it. I hate when fools do that shit.
Yeah, and I also hate when people are, I guess they want to refrain from like sincere emotions. I think a lot of times things get called cringe or whatever, or get kind of their eyes rolled at when they are too like forthright or too like direct, and they aren't kind of like masked in some sort of like irony or detachment, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like about your work, is that you really seem to be very direct and like not like, you don't give a fuck if it's like if it's seen as like too direct, too emotional, too whatever. Like, you're not trying to you're not trying to like be cool about it. You're not trying to like mask it and be safe with yourself. It's very aggressive, but you're putting yourself out there at the same time. You're putting yourself like very much in the forefront of all these releases. You put your face on releases. You put your personal life into things, and of course that makes you an easier target for criticism. But it's usually kind of small-minded criticism. To people be like, oh yeah, like whatever. But like, I really respect that. That's something I really, really respect that you do.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Thank you.
So back to KOUFAR though, do you think, you have like I said, I don't know much about the politics of Lebanon or the Middle East in general. Do you think a lot of your fans also misunderstand what you're trying to do with KOUFAR?
Yeah. All the time. I mean, all the time. I guess you could just say it's inevitable. I mean, it's,
Right.
It's not like this genre is filled with a bunch of Middle Eastern listeners, and I'm not trying to say that in some negative, hateful fashion. I mean, the fact it's like it is what it is,
Yeah.
Like the music doesn't come from there, but that doesn't mean now obviously that we can't participate, and fools are showing up, are being more active. And even though it's not because of course, as you know, it's like there's always these microcosms of scenes, just because it's not in the or being promoted by a European label, say, doesn't mean that it's not, industrial, or it's not this, or it's not that, Yeah. So, I mean, I'd say, it's growing. I mean, I guess you could just say that, I don't know how to put it, it's like, 'cause it's like, I'm just so used to it. I'm just so used to people not understanding, not getting it. But, at the same time, if I did this project out of Lebanon, and to be honest with you, it probably would be even less known. And if I did it, especially with all the pro-Christian militia, political group stuff, it could put myself in harm's way, like legitimate harm's way,
Sure.
Because I mean, that sectarian stuff is still like mad real. So, I feel that I guess you could just say that it's just going to be misunderstood forever, because it's like no one else can really see it but me. The closest that some get, I get some individuals who, it touches them in certain ways, like I've had a few conversations, some really nice conversations with a few folks who, tell me they appreciate it because it's helped them to make sense of them being mixed as well. And, I love that. I think that's great, So, I don't think that, like, my mission exactly isn't to be understood completely, but like to be able to inspire, like that to me, that's way cooler.
Yes.
That's what I live for. Because I mean, like I've been there before where, it's where I couldn't make sense of what I was and couldn't fully comprehend. And it's like I treated myself like shit as a result. And I feel like once I got on board and had a better understanding, and then not only that, but was able to take all of that and put that type of negativity into my art.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's powerful. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think it's powerful. I feel like, like it can, I feel like I have that capability to touch people's hearts and minds sometimes with my music.
Yes.
I'm not going to say that, I'm going to change their lives and they're going to become fucking millionaires, but I feel like the sincerity of my work shows for sure with the interactions that I have with people I want to reach out and talk with them. And that's another funny thing too, is I'm actually pretty easy to talk to. Like I might seem heated after performing at a show, but like I'm pretty chill for the most part. I like having a good time.
Yeah.
About the good time.
Yeah. Definitely. And
I guess you could say it's another thing too, is that it's like, I guess you could say it's like as I got older and just kind of was like just looking at power electronics, industrial, it's just like I feel like sometimes it's just like there's this lack of growth, this stagnation that I see in mentalities and approaches and themes about like what's acceptable and like what's not. And it's like a lot of that is just like, it's just like very lackluster, I feel, and I feel like things are shrinking in many ways, like I feel like in many ways we're on the cusp of like another, you could say like a new era of sorts, I feel with this type of stuff, because I mean, I would say just under the public eye enough, it's, more people are interested in power electronics, industrial, etc.
This episode of White Centipede Noise Podcast is brought to you by Ominous Recordings, based in Sweden, a harsh noise peddling underdog label since 2005. Available on CD is the complete discography of Knives, a 2005 harsh noise collab between the Cherry Point and Pedestrian Deposit's John Borges. The threesome slitting 7-inch with the 2020 New York City gig. Also, a reissue of one of the best harsh noise albums ever, Black Leather Jesus Anti, as well as Golden Serenades Fit, and 3 of the Reader reissues, co-released with Phage tapes. Tapes by Foul, Schizophrenic Genius, and split tape between JSH and Compripritor. Visit www.ominousrecordings.com to get your fix.
But, as I'll tell you this much, as for KOUFAR, though, like as a whole, like compared to where my other projects are going, like it's going to pretty much remain in the underground just because it's like I don't need to have stupid conversations with stupid fucking people. Like,
sure.
Like it's like I'd rather just be like doing music and having a good time. I'm really kind of about that. I mean, like, I don't know. I haven't gotten a conversation. I forget who brought it up. I forget who did, but recently on that last KOUFAR album, I put a censure over one of the words on there, and on other releases I normally would just put it out there, but this go around, it's in life I've realized I'm getting a better understanding of like hills to die on, and and the quote unquote First Amendment right to have that out on there, and because that's my freedom. Like, dude, it's like that's me, dude. It's like, no, dude. Like, no, I've like, there are much more important things I'm trying to be about than a word that's gonna, like flip people
distract people from your.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, as far as I'm concerned, the way it ends up looking, it looks like something straight off of a goddamn 90s hip hop album, which I'm like all fucking for. Like, all for it, man. Yeah. Like, word, that's the fucking mood. That's the fucking vibe, because that's another thing too, when KOUFAR got pressed and there was that big ass cancellation event, and all that bullshit and all these motherfuckers saying this and that about me, my boy and I, we put in some real life work, and that's not to say that there was anything illegal that happened, but we had to have certain conversations and the shit got handled. That was the end of it, man. Yeah. And it's like, I could tell too, it's like after that happened, that's when it was just like, nah, dude, this project is going to be even more aggressive from that real life standard and perspective. I'm not interested in doing these fucking Civil War fantasies anymore. It's like, that shit's like childish now to me. It's like, that's like small stakes, like when I was talking about that Men Are Born for Games, it's like, no, dude, I'm down for the bigger stakes.
Yeah.
Cool. Like about that real life. Like Sam always used to say, reality fucking electronics.
Yep.
Yeah. Way tell me about that.
Tell me about what happened there, because I wanted to know about that. I know you were like, tell me about what happened. You were scheduled to play a show, I think, in San Francisco, and you got basically canceled. As far as what happened.
Well, basically, I mean, I'm just keeping this brief too, and not saying nothing on names, just because of just how awful the whole fucking thing was. An ex of mine got very upset with me, and basically just did whatever they could to just try and just wreck and ruin my life, and hit me with a false restraining order that almost actually cost Sam and I that KOUFAR European tour that we did. Oh. And I'm forever thankful that it was able to be resolved and we got to go and do the thing. And on top of that, you know, because that's the thing, it was handled in court on the day that I was flying in. So, whoa, yeah, it's one of those things where I didn't have to be there, but I mean, it was pretty nerve wracking getting off the plane and being like, okay, how's this voicemail going to go? What's going to happen? Yeah. Wow. And it's like, I didn't want anything to do with them. Yeah. So
crazy.
So yeah, I mean, after that didn't.
So basically, but clarify exactly what happened, because there was this festival.
Yeah. Right? Well, because basically what I told you was that's what's leading up to this. So okay. Because that didn't succeed.
Yeah.
That's when they went after the music projects. And basically I had to step down. And truth be told, it's like, I mean, like, we could have played that day. Like, no one showed up to do fucking shit. Just like everyone always says. They always talk this big fucking game online. But really no one's about that action. Because when you talk online, you're going to fucking incriminate yourself. It's just like... Yeah. It's like pull up either way, you know what I mean? Like what fucking ever, you know? So, yeah.
So it was Maps Festival, and it was like a Maps Festival, was it? And you were accused of being like a Nazi project or something like that? Was that the whole thing? Or?
Yeah, being a white supremacist. Yeah, my favorite thing. Yeah, being called a white supremacist. My work has always just been so entrenched in all of that, you know, with a project name like Bashir Jamail, you know what I mean? Yeah, just everyone just, whoa, man. Jesus. But yeah, so, you know.
Since then, have you had any issues like that?
No, actually two reasons. And the number one was conversations that me and my boy had. That settled that. And of course, it's like when you do something like that, people will hear about it. And so people's got the idea that it's like me and my boy aren't to be fucking bothered one bit. Yeah. You know, we're not what they're saying, and we're not to be bothered, straight up. So there was that. And then the other thing was I went and I was like, yeah, you can kind of see it, but yeah, I got Arab tattooed in my hairline. And that apparently has been the best in quelling all of that bullshit, any sort of accusations. And I only know this because, I mean, I can't say who they are just yet, but from this larger label that I'm going to be working with next year, I was with the gentleman on the phone, and he basically said that, like word of that tattoo has like made the rounds. And so no one thinks anything about it. No one wants to fucking test me on it either. So,
okay, good.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, that's that. I make the joke too. I say, oh yeah, my Bay Area PTSD it's written across my forehead, you know?
Was that a general Bay Area like thing, like from a lot of people around there, or was that pretty selective? Was that like a general scene thing, or was that like pretty selective to like a handful of weird people that don't have to do with the scene?
Oh, I mean, of course it didn't have. Of course, it had to do with this techno fool. This fucking techno tweet. Yeah, fucking techno tweet. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's great though, because he holds. Because dude, like, fucking, he holds my pocket forever. So it's all good with me. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, we'll move on from that. Tell me about Terracell Unit, and tell me about Sam. Tell me a bit about Sam in general, because I know he's been a member. Well, he's a member of Terracell Unit with you. Yes. Is he now a member of KOUFAR?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's basically, he's been a part of KOUFAR since My Name Is My Name, I want to say.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you guys know each other? And because I get the sense you guys have a really close, friendship and working relationship. You described it already, but I mean, tell me about his role in your like artistic development.
Oh, I mean, I actually got in touch with Sam back when I was living in Chicago. Excuse me, and he was doing the label Crimes Against Skin, which was his band Miscreant's label. And he hit me up. He actually wanted to do a KOUFAR release, but instead I didn't, and I did the Male Compliments release. The infamous Male Compliments release I did for them, because it was also my kind of thing at like trying to do an anonymous release. I had never really tackled that before and didn't know if I could pull it off. But they told me that the tape was gone that day, and they were, it was all good. They were stoked on it. I was happy. I mean, that was a very interesting tape to do in general. But yeah, so that's how I met Sam. And basically as soon as I moved out, linked up and started, recording with them, hanging out when Miscreant would be doing stuff.
Was he living in California at the time, or was he in Chicago?
Oh, no. He was living, he's from the Bay. He's born and raised San Jose. And at the time he was still living in San Jose, actually, when I moved out. But we would link up in San Jose and in Santa Cruz, because that's where Lucas, the other member of Miscreant, that's where he lived at. So sometimes we'd be going back and forth between those two spots when we would link up. I think that just early on, we just always kind of just clicked, I guess you could just say, just musically, like what we wanted to do. We always wanted to do hard, aggressive shit. And, he's always kind of just been there, I still remember asking him about wanting to start Terror Cell Unit. We were standing outside at the house at Oakland, I still at, on that porch having cigarettes. And I was like, I got this idea. Do you want to do it? Because Miscreant was on its way out. And I didn't want to do KOUFAR at the time. Just didn't have a drive, didn't have inspiration to try something else. And, we just clicked from there, and it's been incredible, to say the least. It's been wild. And, Terror Cell Unit is, I'm excited. I can go ahead and say it here because it's not like it's a big official thing, but we just got picked up by, we're going to be working with Heavy Talent, that booking agency. Yeah, they do Full of Hell. Right. They also do my solo project, God is War. So, fucking thrilled, man. Fucking stoked, dude. Yeah, trying to do it real big, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Do you think, this is maybe kind of a silly question, but
no, go for it.
Do you think the fact that you guys both identify as minorities within a music scene that is 99% white, do you think that had something to do with how you guys connected, or this link you guys had?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that was the thing, is that he wanted to do the KOUFAR release. Because he's stoked, he's seeing that someone else, say isn't a Westerner really doing something, and having different themes, they're personal, etc. Always been about it. And that camaraderie is there for sure. Used to joke all the time too, but it's interesting. There's a lot of fun commonalities between Lebanese people and Mexicans, actually.
Sure.
They, the Lebanese people helped to introduce the idea. I want to say that the Mexicans, of course, perfected it, but the Lebanese apparently introduced the idea of El Pastor to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. With the whole slope in me, because they were seeing it. Yeah. Because a lot of people wouldn't guess it, but there is actually a huge Lebanese population in Mexico City.
Interesting.
And throughout Mexico as well. Yes, there's a very big diaspora of it. And the joke that I always made with Sam was that I'm like, well, dude, we show up and it's like, oh, wait, you like flat round bread too? Yes. So yeah, it worked out. Another thing, not only that too, but it's I would say too that our people also share the fact that we've had so many different different groups of Westerners pass through, that we all have different looks.
Sure.
There's not this, as much as people like to have their stereotypes and this and that, it's like,
right.
No. And I love that about Sam and I. We're not that. We're like not that at all. But if you put us in natural surroundings, historical clothing, it's pretty fucking obvious what's good. So, because I mean, all the time, fools be like, "Oh, you don't look like it's supposed to be in the book,"
Yeah.
Dude, fucking stupid.
Yeah. What's it like? You live in LA now, and he's still in the Bay Area, right? What's it like being apart? Are you guys still able to work on stuff? And are you guys?
Yes. So we're currently 2 projects in with Terror Cell Unit, and we actually did complete the God is War and Crawl of Time split while I was down here and he was
cool.
up there. But yeah, I mean, it's not as fast anymore. It's definitely not. I mean, it's slowed down quite a bit. We've had, COVID exactly hasn't been the greatest.
Of course.
Obviously has sometimes slowed things down because, the wild thing about it is that it really brings a lot of the ugly shit in your life up a whole lot closer into your face versus all that quote unquote freedom and distractions of what you normally would have. But I would say that we're probably going to finish the Terror Cell Unit. I'm hoping that we can wrap it up in the next 2 to 3 months. I'm moving unexpectedly, so I'm actually not going to be at the beach much longer. Only about less than a month. Going to be out.
Are you moving? You said?
Yeah, but still LA though. We're not going anywhere. My wife's family's here, so yeah, we're hanging tight and staying put. So we're just going to the suburbs, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, because that's where Perfect Circuit is. So I'm all about that big time. I'm like, word up. I can finally actually just go there. So
nice.
Because when I first moved though, this other kick-ass joint, Analog Haven, they're in Monica, and dude, that was fucking dope. That was especially because the guys who run the shop there were just super cool, and it's people often, of course, get this, they have their fucking opinions and stereotypes of Eurorack fools, this and that.
Sure.
But the guy that worked there, his name is, I believe is Scott. He doesn't work there anymore. He started up making Surge synthesizers. Prism, I believe, is the name of what he's doing now. But he was fucking dope because I came in there and I wanted to try out, this. What the hell is it? What the fuck is it called? Oh yeah, the synth was called the Piston Honda. This very complex FM, oscillator, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's I like to make aggressive ass stuff. And this guy was fucking stoked that I was doing that.
Yeah.
Instead of say all right, let's put the 1 volt per octave now so we can get the melody going. It's no.
Yeah.
He was having a blast. One time too, we were playing with this, it's a stereo panning module. It's a stereo. Yeah, it's a stereo filter. And we were just going hardcore, just sending all kinds of just chaos and noise into it. Yeah. And it's at one point, all of a sudden it just stopped. It just fucking stopped. And he just looks at me and he's like, do we beat the game? I guess that's what happens when you finally do it. But it's that was always cool, to show up and it's he's just a regular guy. Obviously it's he wants you to buy something, but
right.
He's not gonna be on some it has to be played like this or let me tune it, let me pull it out and tune it. It's dude, I don't need that.
How did you get into this Eurorack stuff? Because I don't know too much about it, but I know that there's a ton of possibilities with it. When did that open itself to you, and what do you use it for?
Actually, dude, it's wild too because it's I got into it right before the cancellation, all that bad shit. So it's like, it's like we talked about, it's like I was able to really focus on trying to make that shit work, at time, because it's like there wasn't going to be any live action for me whatsoever. So, I got into it because I was just realizing that I wanted to do more with sound. I wanted to do something more aggressive. And I just kind of just had a feeling. I just figured, just from videos that I would watch, started watching like Richard Devine stuff, learned about Anthony Baldino, like just guys like that, Surchai, just total wizards. And it's like that stuff piqued my interest. I was like, dude, okay, like, because if they can make stuff sound like that, I wonder how I can make, like, say, like, take what they're doing, but make it fucking more aggressive, make it even.
Yeah.
And that's always been the vibe. And actually, dude, I got the opportunity to like see those three guys. And then I guess you could say that's where I was like, I would definitely say that was a big turning point for me wanting to get God is War into doing more musical stuff instead of early industrial stuff, and start branching more into like the IDM and like dubstep-y type of vibes now that I really do with the Yeah. Because that stuff's fun, man. That's fun. I mean, basically that's what the pandemic forced me to do. I was like, Mack, figure out how to play electronic music you like. Do it. I bet you can do it. And here
Do you use a lot of that stuff in conjunction with like DAWs or like MIDI sequencing on a computer, or is it mostly like physically analog played, so to speak?
All physically Eurorack. And now I have a Strega too, which that thing's incredible. Aside from just a volume boost, it's really been able to add this really cool like dubby effect too. So I mean, of course, I'm a sucker for that shit. So but it's all that. I'm a total caveman with computers. I don't know anything. I mean, homie, you're like, you need Chrome, and I'm having this moment where I'm like, what's Chrome? Fuck. I'm like this. I drive. I know I drive my wife crazy too with that shit all the time. She'll be like, you can put that into your phone like this. And I'm like, but I don't know how to do that. And I know it drives her crazy because I'm like, oh, look at this music I created, And it's like, I don't know how to operate technology on a level, but I take a little bit of pride in that, because it's like, I come from the last of the few that remember life without the smartphones.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we all do. Yeah. What do you think about people who like, criticize Eurorack stuff or whatever, or like, modular gear? Like, what's that all about?
I mean, everyone's going to have their opinion, but I think that if you want to do more forward thinking type of stuff, because it's like, that's what I'm into, and it's like to each his own, There's some fool out there, like let's take Pharmacist, for example. Have you ever heard of this band Pharmacist?
No.
It's like these fools are, it's like they're a carcass worship band, early carcass worship, I'd say. Early, mid, I'm not a pro. But the thing is, it's like that's just what they want to do. Cause it's
right.
And sometimes I feel like people lose sight of fun in music.
Sure.
It's like, I feel like the same thing goes with Eurorack. It's like, I like to use it because the shit's fun. And why do I think it's fun? Yeah. Because it makes my shit absolutely insane. It makes it wild because it's fun. Yeah. Some people think fun is a contact mic into delay, double delay. That's like barely like, especially when they got the broken cables in the mix. Dude, there you go, dog. There you go. And they go to do it live and they're like, I don't know why it didn't work. And it's like, because you're like a pro, but you're an artist. So I guess that can happen, right? Where this doesn't work. That's how I'm like starting to see it now as it's just like shit. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like if people want to like make fun of it and this and that, like what fucking ever, man. It's the future. I mean, like, I don't think it's going to be stopping anytime soon. I mean, like the way things are going is that it's more affordable now than ever. Yeah.
Is it really as expensive as people say? Because I've always heard people say, fuck, it's so expensive.
Yeah, it can't be totally. Yeah. I mean, like, if you, if you're some guy that, like has an office job and is like, oh, I'm going to buy a 9U. And that's for everyone that doesn't know, in Eurorack, they go by what they say, 1 row is 3U. So it's math, right? Mm-hmm. So the 9U is like a 3-row, case or whatever. If you, buy that, it's like, yeah, man, like the initial investment is expensive, but think of it like a fucking hot rod. That's how this shit is that it's like, and that's the best way for me to explain it to fools, especially because it's like, I'm a caveman. I still don't know what the fucking envelope is. Like you could, like if someone's like, tell me what an envelope does. I'm like, I don't know what it does, but like if you put it into here, like it'll make your shit sound fucking cool, Like that's, I mean, like I'm all self-taught, Like I'm not, I never took classes, and I never wanted, of course, to do anything traditional. Like that's another thing that's cool too about Eurorack is that, in the early days, stuff was very simple. And if you like plug shit into something that say like it's not supposed to work, I mean, you could break it and you say shit on fire, like very dramatic, all that stuff. Nowadays though, they have all this protection proof. So you can just anyone can sit down and have fun with it, as long as you don't have too big of a gap and you have a wire plugged in and it touches. Because, dude, that's where you fuck your shit up, like forever. Dude. If you got something plugged into something and it comes out and you touch the bus board at the bottom, Dunzo, dude. Oh. Dunzo. Yeah. You can fry your rig straight up doing that stupid shit. But like I said, it's like the hot rod thing is because the most expensive thing is going to be the case, and just like a hot rod, the most expensive goddamn thing is going to be the engine, because that's what runs it all.
Oh, so the case, the actual rack, is the most expensive part?
Pretty much to get started. Dude. Yeah, I mean, like you can buy. I mean, there are modules that are like $700-800, but you don't need that. You know what I mean? Like, and then on top of that too, the secondhand market is huge. It's fucking huge, dude. Like whether it's on Craigslist, on eBay, on, I believe they now changed it to the Mod Wiggler website. I forget now, because it used to be Muff Wiggler, but they're like, that's not PC. So they changed that. I ain't been on there in a minute because I'm just like not really interested in, I guess, looking at modules all day long, because it's like I have an idea of what I want, and I guess I'll research and look at the shops and then watch the YouTube videos from there, But the Mod Wiggler site is a great place to start. Like if you want to like learn and get caught up on shit, it's a good place. But I think that it's like it's about your own adventure. It's the ultimate pick your own fucking adventure, because you can trade and swap stuff out, and some stuff I will definitely keep forever. I mean, dude, the nebulae. I mean, like, fools don't ever want to talk away, spit game, or give away their tricks. It's like, dude, the nebulae, it's like, dude, if you want to get into Eurorack and you want to be, whether you want to be a harsh noise artist or you want to be an industrial artist, get a fucking nebulae. Get one. It's a goddamn sampler. It's a sampler that basically, I mean, well, it can be one of many things, because it's got one of those Raspberry Pi type. It's like built with that shit in there. You can actually have it be a drum machine, an oscillator, et cetera, but just standard as is, because I'm a caveman. I'm not taking the thing out and doing that shit. Like, hell no, because I'm afraid you'll get stuck in that mode, because I've read fucking stories. But basically, just factory standard or whatever, it's just a sampler and also like a granular effects processor. And you could rip, like you could do something like here's like a simple setup is like have your nebulae and then load that up with like anywhere from like 8 or however many samples you want that can fit on there of your own harsh noise. Yeah. Then it's like you could buy something like, and it's like this is where that's like this shit is like brilliant for noise, because it's like it embodies that vibe. This shit called random. And like that's what it is. That's what it puts out. So like that's how whatever I'm sending from my ultra random or whatever from SSF into the nebulae, it's gonna do all these different things. And there's this thing they got on there that basically can be. It's called like a gate density. It sends a gate which will like it can activate. It's like a turning on a light basically. And what you do is you run that to the file input on here, and then all of a sudden it's just cycling through them. But then you can step it up and get more crazy because it's like, dude, this is where I love this shit because you can't do this with pedals at all. But like, say you got samples firing off, right, one at a time. And then what you do is you take, say, there's this thing here called the R flux, which is just like a very simple type of modulation. It's like a weird LFO of sorts that kind of can go either way, and it does it randomly. You plug that into the start point input on the nebulae, and so then throughout the entire thing, it's starting at different points. Well, every single time a new sample loads, it's at a different point in that sample.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You see what I mean? So it's like you can do a lot of intense stuff very, very, very quickly. And it's like that's the type of like intricacies of Eurorack and the possibilities, that you can do. I think just an absolute brilliant example of it, just flat out, is Chris from Sickness.
Yeah.
That fool has mastered like cut up harsh noise in Eurorack, and it's more crazy in my opinion. Like I think his newer stuff is even more wild than that because of Eurorack, because of his capabilities. I mean, I'm waiting for that day where someone shows up with the pedals and they do that. Like I'm waiting for that. I'm be curious to see him do it. So that's all I got.
Why do you think
naysayers?
Why do you think? Yeah. Why do you think there's that like general resistance to like equipment that can expand the possibilities of sound?
I mean, just because sadly, I think it's because people look at the founders and they're like, well, this is all they needed. And it's like, well, cool. So you just like want to do like the status quo, what I mean? Like once again, it's just that idea of no progression, no thought, but I mean, like it's a vibe for some people, like, right. When I say that, it's like I'm not talking shit on like Christian from Alpha Mania, he's the boy.
Right.
Sam and I, no new fans, no new nothing. That's work. You know what I mean? I get it. I dig it. I still appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, it's like that's just not my approach. It's not.
Sure.
Yeah. That's just not who I am. But hey. Got love for the homies. I hope that feels good.
Yeah. Do you feel like your projects are like accepted by the old guard, or like whatever that might be? I mean, do you feel like there's like a resistance to you or what you do?
For sure. I mean, like it's always there. I mean, like I'm sure that some people watching this have. Definitely. And, I'm sure this also probably going to get discussed later on special interests. But yeah, I mean, like I've acted a fool on special interests. I've gotten into it with you on special interests, and so, it's all good. I'll tell you what though, Oscar, after I got into it with you, I was like, no more, because this, that was during the pandemic, dude. I was drinking a bit too much at that time. And back, if you're into your second or third beer, you're not allowed to get on special interests. Like, do not get on there. Do not drink in special interests. It's just like, no. Because I mean, I don't agree with a lot of the views, like I don't. I feel like
sure.
It's
But do you enjoy being like divisive? Do you enjoy being confrontational and like like you're not afraid to speak your mind, you're not afraid to talk some shit, and like that's something. And I mean, I respect the fact that you can sometimes be like, okay, like that was maybe like a little much, but I mean, you stand by what you do. I mean, that's do you feel like there's a distinction between like how you like act, like put yourself out on the internet, and like how you are like face to face?
I mean, of course, it's like no one in real life is going to come at someone like screaming at someone like, it's like, 'cause it's like that's the luxury of the screen,
Yeah.
It's like, and that's why face to face is always different. Face to face is like forever and ever different,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
because I like that, I like, because, I'm not going to say we got into it, but I mean, anytime like there was anything like that, it's like, but dude, I know you, like, I know what you're like. And like, I know, like, I have a totally different, like view of like anything you would say online. Like, even if you're being like confrontational or like whatever towards someone, I'm just like, yeah, but I know that dude. Like it's deeper than that, kind of, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think that's important to like have that thing. And that's kind of in some way, like one reason that I want to do like a podcast like this with video and with like people's faces and like talking to people is because there's so often through noise, not just internet or message boards, but there's all this like, there are these masks and like,
dude. Yeah, man.
Anonymous behavior. And I mean, that's fine. But I mean, I really like being able to in some way make it more complex by like introducing and talking to like the people in real life, because I think that's much more rich and brings so much more richness to actually the music and the art.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, just like bearing on, like owning stuff, you know what I mean? Like, dude, there are some things on the SI forum that I'm like, oh, Mack, you're a fucking idiot. And there are some things that I'm like, you know what? Fuck up still.
Yeah, good. That's good.
You know, I mean, you know, but, you know, that's the thing, is that it's like, you know, I think I remember being so young and just like wanting to excel, wanting to, you know, like, you know, I mean, I think every artist always wants to be recognized. It's like,
sure.
You know, some fools will just say on that, I do it for myself and only for myself. It's like, you know what? Like, okay, sure. Cool. Yeah, cool. Great. But some people really want to try and shake things up. They want to try and move the world, you know?
Yeah.
And,
definitely.
You know, others are just cool with what they got. Some people are just stagnant. And I think that I kind of, at one point, I felt like I was finding myself stagnant and trying to like win the approval of the underground. And it's like, I'm at a point now where it's like, I'm moving on to the ocean. You know, like it's, you know, when they always talk about perspective, you know, it like, yeah, it blows my mind, man. It really does. Yeah. And, you know, I just, kind of like going back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like, I'm more into inspiring people than keeping up traditions and norms.
Yeah,
just straight up, you know, like some people want to be in that club, you know, but that's the thing though, is that those clubs die out, man. Those clubs die out. You know what was a really big club many, many moons ago?
What?
The classical music world. You know what I mean? It's like, that was a real big club. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. You know what I mean? That club nowadays, I don't know anyone that listens to classical music. I could be ignorant, and so could my friends be. But, you know, I don't, you know, I've never really met anyone that's like, I'm a die hard, you know? So I can only imagine as time goes on where that's going to play in for experimental music. I'm curious. I'm curious, especially as we start to enter into now what fools are talking about, the meta universe. Like, what the hell? Like, are we going to have like experimental NFTs? You know what I mean? Like, we'll just be watching, like, noise will only be consumed through VR glasses. Like, is this where we're headed? You know, I don't know, but we'll see, you know? But I tell you what though, dude, I don't really care about what's going on in a small pond. I just feel like, I mean, it's also why interaction on SI is pretty nil. I mean, even then, I feel like it's like fools are like starving for conversation. You know, right. I mean, I'll give the big boss man credit. He'll engage you. I appreciate that about him. Yeah, I do. About me. Yeah, at least he'll engage, man. And you know what? I will say this too. And out of all this time, I know too that fools are pissed off that I have not been banned from there yet. But I do appreciate that he's allowed me to stay.
I think that's what's needed in any, conversation or forum or anything that is like actual opinions and actual varying positions on things. So I think that's always good.
Currently available from White Centipede Noise: Upperpot, Hot Lava Shampoo CD, Jason Krumer Ruth CD, K.M. Tupfer, Retrace No Steps CD, The New Boyfriends, the 4th Season CD, Aaron Dilloway and Jeff German, Casual Collision CD, co-released with New Forces. Various artists, Lacerations Double CD, co-released with Tronics. Sewer Election and Trix Rusit, Killing for Germany, Rugsfett CD. Testicle Hazard 5060 LP.
So God is War. That's another one of your really active projects. And now next to KOUFAR and Terrasolino, but that's you just on your own, right? And break down what that really is, because you're still working like on a lot of noise labels within like noise and industrial kind of like circles, but the music is definitely like going much more into like musical territory, like you had said earlier, you know, different genres of electronic music. Can you tell me about that project? Like what's your goal there?
I mean, you know, the project, I mean, I was trying to like, how do I put it? Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out how to make more colorful, excuse me, I guess you could say like colorful and bright industrial music. That's kind of what was like the inspiration in the beginning. And then, like I said, the pandemic, like I mentioned earlier, the pandemic hit. And since there wasn't going to be any live anything, I was just like, you know what, Mac, just let's try to figure out, like, can you make electronic music that you like? Yeah. Make it how you think you want to see it. Like, real quick, you see that, my cat?
Yeah, cool. Totally cool. That's great.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, no, I just had to show you real quick. I saw her head.
I know wear a sweater, though.
Yeah, oh, yeah, she wears a sweater.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, anywho, so, yeah, so, you know, I started just experimenting. I bought this thing called the Squid like sample. It's like a little, like, I guess you could say it's like a SP202 sampler of sorts, like type of technology, but put into Eurorack form. And I just started playing with that. I bought this thing called Pam's New Workout. And if you have Eurorack and you haven't gotten one, just go get one. This is more free knowledge for you fools. Like it will, if you want to try and make quote unquote musical stuff, get it. It's simple. It's great. It's really, really, really great. And there's really great tutorials too as well online from how to use it. But you know, I just kind of started from there and then just kept, you know, trying and, you know, feeding different things into my nebulae. I would say that the last like industrial God is War release I did was the Child of God release on Cloister. And that's another Cormac McCarthy book too, as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And actually, I'll go ahead and announce it now. I'm going to be working with Andy from the Vomit Arsonists on we're going to do a take on No Country for Old Men.
Cool.
Yeah. Wow. I'm really excited to do that.
Cool.
Especially, I mean, I'm going to talk more with him, but I'm actually I want to be able to set it up so that we can do it live.
Great. Because
there might be some big opportunities in the future to where we could possibly do this. So, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, and that's the thing too, man. God is War is, as I start to do the more musical stuff, it's like it's been catching the ear of the underground. I would say both metal and the hardcore world.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll just be frank, man. I mean, all praise is due to Dylan from Full of Hell for nonstop plugging my stuff.
Yeah.
The one who really like helped me get me in touch with the label that I'm going to be working with. And same thing with Andy Nolan too, the gentleman from the Endless Blockade. Yeah. I mean, I really helping me, talking up my work. I really appreciate it, you know? So I'm excited to venture out into that world, you know?
Yeah. So you've had a lot of like crossover, interest, I think, and appeal to these other scenes. Do you think that's bringing people also from like other musical scenes to noise more also, that they're like then getting more interested in noise or some of your noisier stuff?
I mean,
and then exploring the genre further?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that it's definitely going to be opening things up. You know, like Here, this is a good example too of where the reach is starting to even come from, dude. So I found out apparently that the guitarist for this Christian metalcore band, hardcore band, Advent, is a huge God is War fan. And I mean, I actually, I like Advent. I mean, I've always liked Advent, and Beloved too. And that's actually where the vocalist of that band started. And actually, it's kind of wild. I'm actually gonna have a conversation with this guy tomorrow. So cool. I'm hoping that works. That looks for a possible collaboration. So that's what I'm hoping for. It may not, may or may not be the case, but because I'm just looking forward to speaking with him, just because it's like he's someone like I really respect and appreciate, and it's been a wild year, dude. I mean, like I did a remix for Full of Hell.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. And that's actually, I've come to realize that that's like the most fun.
Remixing other people's work?
What's up?
Remixing like bands' work?
Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite. And actually, because I pretty much have like a very quick and easy method that involves the nebulae. So I mean, it's just like it's perfect, and that's been super cool and super fun. I mean, I also did another one for Fluids too.
Cool.
That metal band. And I did another one for Executioner's Mask.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. And there should be there's some others, of course, more stuff hopefully in the works. So I'm excited.
So you've got pretty big plans going with the project, and you think, I mean, I know you're keeping your lips sealed about the specifics, but it sounds like you're going to be on a bigger metal oriented label in the near future. Actually,
it's going to be more of a hardcore label, actually, which I think is, honestly, I think it's even cooler, man. I love it. It's like we haven't seen each other in so long. It's like, dude, it's like I'm finally coming back to hardcore, and I'm just like, it's like I'm like reminded all of a sudden of why I loved it so much as a youth, and to be able to almost like come back to it with the support, from a large label in that scene. I mean, like, having the respect of those guys from Advent, like it's really fucking cool, man. It's like, it's really cool. It's really, really exciting. And, the gentleman at the label was telling me too, that he wants to, he's curious and interested in expanding into more of this experimental electronic music territory. So, cool. I'm gonna try and throw him a few suggestions.
Bring the homies with.
I mean, dog. I mean, dude, that's how I operate. You know what I mean? Lots of people don't like to be like that. No, I want to be like that, man. I want to be like that. I want to do like stuff where it's like, say, it's like I'm on tour and a good friend of mine is, in there, and it's like, okay, cool. I can sneak you in to do 15 minutes on my set. You know what I mean? Like, just do it from there. You know what I mean? Like, do small things like that, or get them to open the show or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just pay it forward, because I just feel like I'd have to, because like I mentioned those gentlemen earlier, and it's like, it makes me want to do that for others too. Yeah, because definitely. I'm not the only person who's like, I would just rather be doing this. I don't want to work, a regular job or this or that. It's like, I just want to be doing this,
So you grew up listening to hardcore music. Was that like your main like teenage music? Because I have a theory. Were you also listening to techno at that time?
No, I didn't even. No.
Were you listening to hip hop at that time?
A little bit, not too much.
Okay.
I got big into hip hop definitely after linking with Sam, pretty much. Okay. Yeah. So I started listening heavily, like more hip hop. I want to say like 2012, 2013, and just. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Because I feel like those are the three genres that people get into in their like early teens, and it like informs their later decisions and interests. Because like I never listened to like electronic music or techno. And I never listened to punk or hardcore at that time. Like I never had access to it or whatever, but I was into hip hop and rap. So like to me, like now that's still like the music that's like my like low key favorite kind of music outside of like noise music. But like I can't really like I don't know where to begin with punk. Like every time I'm like listening to some like punk or hardcore or whatever, I'm just like after like one side I'm like, all right, like the next thing, or like same with techno. I'll be like, this is cool, and then like within like 3 minutes I'm like is it just gonna keep going like this, or like but I think that's just like, I think it's just like has to do with what I was like programmed with at a certain age, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely.
Of course, a lot of people develop like you like hardcore, but you also like electronic music and rap now. So I mean, it's not like it's exclusive, but I think most people have that one genre that like makes a huge impact on them at that age.
Yeah,
just like, I mean, sticks with that.
I would say that definitely now. And I mean, not only that too, but just like it's like aside from the label I'm working with, it's like, dude, LA has a huge scene. It's like I want to say 2 of my label mates live out here, possibly more. I need to look at the discography a bit more. You know, it's just more happening here, like the type of stuff that I enjoy and I like. The Bay doesn't do that. Their stuff is it's the more of that punkier hardcore. No crowd killing, no good times. You know what I mean? No good violent fun. So, you know, that stuff. What's up?
That style and attitude of the vocal style has been a huge influence on your work. Is that right? I mean,
straight up, yeah, because it's like that's all I was listening to. Straight up, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And actually, you know, Oscar, I'm meeting up with this young kid on Sunday. We're trying to start a band called Benches Cleared.
Cool.
Yeah, we're gonna actually record the vocals on Sunday, or at least try and record some of them.
Was this what you were talking about? Like kind of like a hardcore band that you were gonna do?
Yeah, we're also gonna try and insert some noise and stuff too.
Cool.
They have this band, I think they're called The World, or the EP's called The World, but it just dropped, and it's like it has like noise interludes. It's got samples. It even has a hip hop track. Mm-hmm. And it's like that's what I'm starting to really see now more and more and more of seriously in hardcore is that it's like at least not the hardcore punk, the people who want to, you know, I don't want to say gatekeep, but I feel like that's all it is just this preservation of, and you know, it's like I don't know, I feel like things are meant to evolve and change, because I feel like sometimes when you just preserve something, it just withers and dies, or it becomes mummified, you know.
Sure.
So, but at least I feel like with like more modern hardcore, like definitely that interest for experimental stuff is there. But I will say this though. Mm-hmm. Everyone missed it when On Broken Wings dropped Some of Us May Never See the World in 2002, I want to think. And that album is full of noisy, weird samples, stuff, like legit sounds. And it's actually really fucking cool, especially because on the last song, it's like super gross. It's right before they get into the final breakdown or whatever. It just sounds like, it sounds like a skull, just like some kind of nasty, crumbly crack. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like some like Andy Ow in the broccoli. You know what I mean? It's like on par with gross, with something gross like that. And it's like that dropped in 2002 and no one cared. But also too, I'll say that like that album could have been recorded better, and the noisy parts definitely should have been much, much more bigger in the mix. But that shit's cool.
That's oftentimes the case with such ideas, that it's a shame when someone has a really good idea, but they don't really have the means or whatever to like fully realize it. And then it kind of just gets like lost in the corner of history. So, I think that's cool that you are very conscious of this. And I think, you know, with your things that are happening now with you, with linking with other bands, you could probably have a chance to bring this like into better fruition maybe than it has been in the past. Yeah. Those sort of things.
And I'm sure there's going to be some people that are like, I'm the worst thing to ever happen to it because now we can't rehash the same controversial subjects we've been rehashing because we're bored. Like that's what I can already imagine that someone's going to come in and be like, no, he's ruining it. He's bringing all these people into it. And it's like, dude, well, you know what? Like, too bad.
Yeah.
Like maybe you guys should have been like nicer and been like, oh, we acknowledge your brilliance. And then like that would have just kept me in the same pond. You know what I mean? Would have just kept me humble. Like, no, now I'm going to ruin it. I'm going to tear it wide open for everyone. I was
you must be bringing a lot of people into it because I mean, like, okay, you've expressed that you're maybe kind of polarizing for some people, and some people are kind of like pushing you away, but at the same time, you have like a huge fan base, and you have like, Phage tapes, the tape that dropped by you, Minority Report 2, a couple weeks ago or months ago, whatever. I mean, he made 200, I think, and that's a fairly high number for a tape, or power electronics tape, and it was sold out within like a day or two. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Obviously, people are like into what you're doing. Like a lot of people.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That shocked me. I had this moment where actually I messaged Sam. I was like, "Holy shit, is this the new standard 200?" Because for the longest time it was just 100. It was 100, no problem. 100, no problem. But yeah, no, I never did 2. Sam said he wanted to do that, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I want as many people to have it as possible. And then it went.
Right.
I saw in that interview where it's like, I guess he was like a little annoyed that it went. But also too, at the same time, I'm like, Habibi, to repress. Like, just repress, Habibi, we got you. We'll do another hundo. It'll be Gucci. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I'm always thankful and humbled when the stuff does move as much as it does. Because I don't ever take that for granted. I don't.
Right.
I don't. Yeah. I'm always thankful, and I mean, dude. I mean, you know me. I'm pretty laid back. I'm always down to have a convo, whether it's your IG in real life.
Right.
So,
yeah, definitely. What's your experience been like with labels in general? You've been on a lot of labels, and some you kind of have worked with multiple times, and some less. Are you usually satisfied with how things come out on other people's labels, and is it hard for you to give up the control?
I mean, I number one, I gave up the control because I realized that I'm bad at running a label without proper space and the tools and all that stuff. I suck at it. I need the type of organization and stuff. I mean, like on a serious note, I kind of dropped the ball with the last batch of stuff that I did. And I screwed up, and I had to actually I refunded quite a few people. But thankfully, I'm moving. I'm gonna have a garage, so I'll finally have some more space to be able to organize stuff, do a better job, dude. But overall, aside from giving it up, not everything comes out 100%, and not everything always plays out. Even when, say, like you're trying to present something to a label.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people think something's going to be cool or not cool. And they switch up halfway in a conversation, or they rush something on the production side. I mean, I definitely have experienced it all. I'm trying to do my best not to hold too big of grudges. Really?
Sure.
Frankly,
But you learn from it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely learn from it for sure. And if there's anything I've learned that will just piss me off into oblivion, is just being held up and waiting. Some fools want some they need to wait for the moon to be either a crescent or something.
Yeah.
Bang a gong and all that stuff, and then I got inspired to dub them, and then it's like 6 months later, and they're like, "What were you doing, fool? You running a label, or are you too busy drinking? Like what's it going to be? So
right.
like that shit's frustrating. And I mean, like, granted, I get that starting in noise. I get that. I used to try and run one. I mean, like, and that was poorly done. But it's like, it's on that, like, if there's a will, there's a way, and it's like, you can be determined, you know? Yeah. Like, I remember going out spray painting Bashir Jamail releases because I had taken cardboard, I think, from some store or some storefront or whatever. It was dry. This is in the winter. It was like still dry. And I took it so I could put it out on the balcony and, you know, put the CDRs out. And it's like 30 degrees. It's like 20, 30 degrees out. The snow is like lightly falling. And it's like I'm out there trying to do it, trying to make that shit work, you know, because you just want to do it. You just want to make it happen. So, you know, I mean, you know,
you've kind of learned also now who's
reliable and who's not.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you've been around a lot. You know, like Phage, for example. Phage is very reliable, and Phage will get the job done. And you know, seems like you guys have been working together.
He's incredible. And that fool's always been incredible. Like, there's never not been a time when Sam like wasn't incredible.
Yeah.
Definitely. That fool is, you know, more fools need to give him his roses, dude. I'm serious.
Absolutely.
Like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. He's an underrated dude.
Dude, straight up. I don't care. Dude deserves a statue. He's so modest. He's actually like deserves a statue.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, without doubt. I don't care. I'll make it happen. I'll figure it out.
Do you ever feel like labels approach you or want to work with you simply because they know you have a big fan base and know your stuff will sell well, like for clout?
I mean, I definitely have had that, you know.
Can you smell that, or is that like, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, you know. Yeah. I mean, like, there's, you know, it's pretty obvious to me when it's mutual respect versus just like, all right, homie, I've never heard of you. My boy has never heard of you, and my friends haven't heard of you, and this is going to be, you know, no. I nowadays too, it's like, you know, I know who I'm going to work with unless someone is being vouched for directly. That's a whole other situation. That's fine. That's cool. I like it when fools vouch for one another. I feel like that needs to happen more. People need to
for sure.
You know.
I think I agree. I think there needs to be more like discussion and respect given and props given, and also like warnings given.
Yeah, man.
Not that like things need to be like trash talked, but I think you know, behind closed doors there needs to be more like honest, frank discussions about like how different people do things. You know,
absolutely. I mean, I also think that it's, you know, and ultimately too, I feel like it's difficult because it's like, say you're in the, you know, you're at a show, you're going to play, right? And the person you're playing with is like, you know, I guess you could say it's one of these awkward situations where it's like, how do you tell them that you're not into what they do, but you get upset, you know? How do you do that? How do you respectfully like do that? To be honest with you, I totally take that as a compliment. If someone was like, I don't listen to this stuff, I don't know anything about it, but that was cool. I'm like, take it. I'll take it. I feel like there's sometimes too those honesty conversations that are tough, especially like you know, like you said, it's like you can have them behind the closed doors, but once you start having them out at shows with people, oof. You never know how You never know how it's going to go. Some people are sensitive. I'm one of them. Yeah. I'll admit it. I am,
Sure. Yeah, it's normally sensitive. I think you have some liner notes on that tape, I think, on the on Omar's label, American Erectors, where like I don't have it in front of me, I can't, but it's like you were talking about like showing up at the show and like getting in your face or something like that.
Oh, dude, no, dude, you're talking about the song titles. So you're talking about the song titles from, God, what do you call it on the Erectors one? Yeah, that's the God is War one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So no, those are just all like song titles, pretty much. And that's one thing too, you know, that I'm doing with God is War. It's very just much like against, I guess you could just say, the standards in electronic music.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what I've always tried to do, whether it's like I'm making power electronic, this or that. It's like, I want to try and push it. And it's like, that's one thing I noticed in electronic music or experimental electronic music, fools will only go so aggressive. They will only go so aggressive. It's like whether it's the style of music or it's like they just have like some sort of like art video. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like there's like this weird taboo around like doing electronic music and having like very dark, aggressive, intense themes. Maybe I'm not seeing it somewhere. Like maybe it's not being shown to me, but it's like I don't.
You're talking about in electronic music, like
straight up like brash. You know what I mean? Because most of the time, dude, especially again in the experimental world, it's like, oh, cool. Did you listen to? Let's just say, you know, like let's use Audiker as an example. It's no disrespect, but like it's like, oh, dude, I just love that one track of theirs, lowercase j 5xy.xp.pq.50. Yeah. I love that song. You know, it's incredible. It's like, dude, like I'm not into that. That's not like how I feel, or that's not the type of vibe that I'm trying to create. And so I'm just trying to put in something what I think is like refreshing in many ways, and it's on some like opening up a conversation of like what is appropriate in terms of themes. And so that's why I want to have songs like called like Beating You Down with My 3U, which like I explained, I feel like a 3U Eurorack. Yeah, exactly. And actually, dude, that one track that's called Showing Up. Showing Up to Your what is it? God, it's like showing up to your bitch ass techno show to shut you the fuck up. That's a direct thing. That's what happened with one of those fools. I was like, that holds my pocket. Yeah, that's basically.
Okay, I was gonna ask if that release in particular has any like specific meaning, or if it's just kind of like more the attitude or the vibe.
Also specific. Well, I mean, it's also that too, is that it's like the Master of My Realm title. It's like, that's like the whole like snarkiness of it, is that it's like I've done, you know, what I think will be remembered work within power electronics, industrial, or it will be highly contentious and discussed for many years. And so I'm moving on from that and doing electronic music, and I'm trying to even put an even snarkier attitude on it. So it's like, and I'm not going to say that work is brilliant. I'm not going to say it's brilliant like one bit. It's like, actually, it's like me beginning, just like learning the stuff. But I want to have that attitude there because like,
you want to come in the gate like that. You want to come in swinging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, man. Exactly. And actually there is a track on there that, cause it's like, of course I have to do this. There's another track on there that's called, You Got Soft and I Only Got Harder. And then in the parentheses, it says dedicated to all those that bitched out of industrial and power electronics.
And who's that?
That's for all the fakers, dude. All the fakers, dude. Yeah, straight up. Because dude, I've met them. You've met them. Everyone's known about them. Everyone that's been in this game more than 10 years knows at least a handful, 5 people that were like all in, all down, all this, all that. And now they're like, I'd rather be, you know, doing sand art, you know, like seen it. So,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that one. And then there's another more, even more contentious one that's going to be coming out on that bigger label. Like I said, no, I can't give that away just yet. But yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. How to do it to him, Habibi? Because I really want to make this point before I forget, because I think you'll appreciate this. This actually goes back to all the KOUFAR conversation too.
Yeah.
When I started that project, everyone wanted to ask me, is Muslim Gauze an influence? And I'm not doing any sort of, you know, like world music or drums. I'm not doing any of that. And they don't ask, and they asked me that nonstop just for theme's sake, which I always thought was just like unbelievably ignorant and stupid. But now what I'm actually doing is basically that.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is about the deep repetitiveness, at least for now. Like, I know that I'm sure that my sound will probably expand as I get more different types of gear. But like right now, like my whole gig is like making a generative patch and just playing it out, like tuning it to how I think it's good to go, and then just letting it go for like anywhere from like, it can be one song, one thing take, or sometimes if it has real interesting stuff, but it has to be going for a while, I'll go for like 20, 25 minutes and let it run. And it's like, that's basically what Muslim Gauze was doing. This guy was setting up Eurorack and synth stuff, because that fool was using Eurorack. Like back in its earliest, most primitive stages, and just playing the same repetitive stuff over and over and over again. And I know this, that if he had actually lived to today and actually like could have gotten a nebulae, that fool would have changed. Oh, dude, that fool would have changed the game forever, dude. That fool would have changed the game forever, dude. Yeah, that would have been incredible, if only. But that's what I think that's funny though now, is that everyone always used to think early KOUFAR was about Muslim Gauze, and it's like now, like, if anything, I'm more like him. But
do people ask you about that now?
What's up?
Do people make that comparison now?
No, they never make that comparison with God is War. But like I said, I just think that's funny that it's like now it's like I'm doing actually stuff that's more like him. But
funny.
I know, right? Weird, right? Perception, huh?
You've traveled internationally with KOUFAR. I don't know if you've done it with God is War and Terracell Unit as well. You came to Europe?
Yes. Terracell Unit played in, we played at the United Forces of Industrial. That was
Terracell Unit, not KOUFAR.
Well, it was both, because one of the bands dropped off at the last minute. And so then Martin from Unrest Productions asked if TCU could cover that slot. And so we did. Okay, cool. And I think that's the only time we actually ever played in Europe. I'm pretty sure the other times have just all been KOUFAR, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But Sam came with you. He was playing as KOUFAR.
Yes.
Playing with you in KOUFAR.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Came to Europe.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, cool. How was that tour? What was your experience? What are your experiences like been outside of the U.S. with the projects?
Oh, it's been, I mean, dude, I love getting abroad. I mean, it's a different experience. I mean, you know this already. It's I don't know how to put it other than saying that it's just better and it's a lot more fun. I think so. Who knows? Maybe it'll change my mind in a year or so. But my time going over there, always great. Great reception.
Meeting some folks.
I mean, dude, one of the most humbling moments ever was meeting Mike Dando. Humbling.
Oh, wow.
Humbling. Yeah. Having that man's respect, that was one of the most humbling things ever. And just really life reaffirming. And, I wish him all the best in life right now. I don't know where he's at, but I just hope he can have some kind of comfort. So,
yeah. Wow.
But yeah, no, met, I mean, aside from him, met a lot of other people too. And they've all been absolutely top tier, especially everyone involved with Unrest.
Yeah.
Dude, everyone involved from Unrest is just most professional, the most fun, just great guys. Or as they would say, blokes, right? Yeah, blokes. Yeah. Miss those
Are you still in touch with those guys? I haven't seen much from Martin or Unrest in quite a while. I don't know.
Yeah, so I believe that the label is no longer in the UK. A lot of them have moved. I believe the gentlemen in Kevlar have left. They are now back in Poland. And I mean, obviously COVID and everything has probably kept people slow. Lee retired, Iron Fist of the Sun. Rest in peace, dude. And also to Forever, and I don't care. It's Forever, dude. One of the biggest influences on my work, hands down. Yes. I it's undeniable. I think that Lee is unbelievably forward thinking, and how he presents his electronics in such a clean and mean way. That's always been fucking cool. Yeah. Yeah. But I see that. I think that that's what's been going on. So Unrest is kind of just chilling right now. I think there's more, but I think that there's always more. Martin's got in him like no other. He's the best.
Cool.
Yeah, that fool is great. He's definitely someone who is really inspired and encouraged me to not only keep on doing, but like also to want to come back to Europe.
Yeah.
He's shown Sam and I the best time ever.
Yeah.
I just think that he's just a stand-up guy. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
And he also has that same kind of attitude, I think, that you have in some way. Like, of course, he's like definitely a big fan and definitely like tied in with like the classic artists, but he definitely also has this attitude of like wanting to push new ideas forward and new sounds forward, and like rejects like violently like this kind of nostalgia for a certain era or a certain sound. Which,
I mean, one thing that I appreciate that Martin did was basically reveal to me very quickly that it's like fuck your heroes. For the most part, it's like they're not as cool. They're nowhere near as fucking cool as you think they're going to be. Some are cool. That's not that. I will say that some are very, very, very fucking cool. But like a lot of the quote unquote greats are a mess. And that's like. But also, once again, it's like I feel like that harkens back to that era, to where it was about the opportunity for that chaos, and that there was this magic in that chaos, say, for example, let's say, one of the White House guys or Gary Mundy, it's like he's doing something with his mic, and in that instance, he decides to go crazy or whatever, and it's like he pulls the mic and the plug barely comes out of the pedal or whatever, and it just creates a sound and it just blows everyone's minds.
Yeah.
Those days are done. I just feel like where we're at, it's like those days are just like done. You know what I mean? Like that stuff used to be like special and magical, and now it's just kind of like, well, okay, but it's like, but what now? It's like, I guess a good way of putting it is it's someone just being like, check out my 1930s Ford, and someone's like, oh, like what? Like I have a 95 Honda with leather seats. Like, what's up? You know what I mean? Like get the fuck in. It's easier. You know what I mean? It's like, this is way more simple. We get more miles. Fuck. But like I said, man. So, but for some fools that works well, and that's not to say that great ideas don't come from that.
Yeah.
But I've just never been one to just stick solely by that. And I know I think Martin recognized that in me from a young age. I mean, we actually, dude, I used to get on the phone and talk with him way back in the day when I was,
cool.
Yeah. But when I was a senior, I want to say in college, we were talking on the phone.
Was that like pre, like FaceTime and Skype days, or were you guys using like were you actually using minutes?
Yeah, I believe actually he was calling me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like he set that up. Yeah, it was calling me. Yeah, it was all before that. I mean, he's always been a great guy, great mentor too. I mean, just a very cool dude. And like I said, it's like always.
Tattoo.
I mean, yeah, dude, you know it. I'm in for life, man. I'm in. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, we've reached the point in time where I'd like to ask you, what are your top 5 noise, doesn't have to be noise, but experimental industrial power electronics albums of all time?
Okay. Just off the top of my head, because I haven't thought about it in a while. Number 1 would have to be Color of a Man's Skin from Condom. Mm-hmm. Number 2 probably for me would be Behavioral Decline from Iron Fists of the Sun. Yep. Number 3 probably would be what is the title of it? Oh yeah, number 3 is Altamont Rising from Shift.
From Shift.
Yeah, dude, the cover song. Dude, yeah, dude, that's it, dude. That's it. And then number 4 would probably be definitely Strom.edc. It's like a tie between Total Dogs. I mean, honestly, like as a whole, like those guys too. Yeah. I just have to say the most overlooked Finns. I don't care what anyone says, dude. The most overlooked and most forward-thinking Finns out of everybody. Peace to Ilka. But also the fucking Strom guys, just sonically just brilliant, dude. Just absolutely brilliant. I always thought that shit was super cool and definitely always was thinking of ways to try and actually imitate that as well. Yeah, those guys were always great. And then, you know, number 5, because it's like it's the last one, and it's like I've so more, and it's tough because it's like there's so much more. But you know what? I'll just go ahead and say it because I actually think it's an excellent album, and also once again super forward thinking in my opinion. World Draped in Camouflage from Grunt.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Dance for the Genocide is one of the sickest fucking tracks I've ever heard. Yeah, the use of that sample is spot on. It's perfect. And there's just something that's like, there's just something about the electronics in that track that make it feel like it's like representative of something very live and living. So I don't have to explain it. I don't have to. I just don't know what it. I just don't know what it is because it's like I almost wanted to put Patrouille and Ruli, but which is like the mightiest one I think out of all of them. It's just pure fucking might on that one. But definitely, World Draped in Camouflage is I think the most. I definitely would say most experimental, forward thinking of the bunch. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. And now I'm going to switch up my question. Normally I ask people what their favorite noise releases of the past year were. I want to ask you, what are your favorite rap albums of the past year?
Oh, yeah?
Releases. Or the past couple years, because we've talked about this in the past. You're up on like newer hip hop, which I'm not as much up on, and I'm trying to get caught up. And I kind of put a lot of it off for a while. And in the past year or two, I've kind of realized there's a lot of really, really good new stuff coming out as well. So I want to hear, if you can give me 3 to 5.
And okay, 3. I'll give you 5 because it's like, dude, there's so much. I think that where to even start? Okay, I'll start because No Coast Forever. And this is, it's tied for first place in my opinion. Both of the Boldy James Alchemist albums from last year and this year, just stunning, Bo Jackson is the one that dropped this year, and The Price of Tea in China, I believe, dropped last year, I want to say. And both of those albums are just, it's just like, it's such a cinematic experience. I don't know what else to say. It's like, you just need to like sit down and have a listen. I think that Boldy's really smooth flow is really cool. And I really had a good laugh when he was talking about, because he's from Detroit. He was talking about, I believe, coming down to, it's this school in Ohio. I'm blanking on what it's called. Or in Akron, going down to Akron, Ohio, to sell pills. That shit, I was just like, all right. I was like, oh fuck, yeah, dude, that sounds good. So that guy. The other one that jumps out at me immediately is Hell's Roof from Edo. Okay. DJ Muggs did that one, and that one's mean. That one's really, really, really mean and gritty. And then I would also say that, have you ever, I can't pick a direct album, but Crime Apple.
Don't know it.
Listen to this guy?
No. Yeah. I've seen I've seen like one video by him. He's a white guy, right?
Actually, he's Colombian.
Okay.
Colombian, yes. Big time. Yeah, dude. So this guy, in my opinion, his bars are so deep like you have to listen to him talk or like listen to the songs. I want to say like 4 to 5 times to understand everything, because of what he's saying is just like, it's super deep, and the lyricism is just on point, and the production's, it's always good. He's a bit, he's like into that RZA shit where he's like rapping over loops, instead of like straight beats or whatever. He's good at that too. So Crying Apple, oh dude, definitely. Marcialago from Rock Marciano.
Okay.
That came out last year. Actually, dude, that thing came out in December 2020, which like proved the point of why you don't release an album in January ever, because everyone missed out on it, and it's brilliant. Rock Marciano is super great too, because he produces his own stuff and actually has his own style. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Another guy who's good with the cinematics. And then
I've heard a little bit of his stuff, but I haven't. Yeah, that's good. I'll check it out.
Yeah. I mean, Habibi, you can just start with the newest and just go back and just
Yeah.
And then last but not least, I would say. See, and here's the bummer part is like, I'm just telling you the American stuff. I've been listening to a lot of the European stuff. I don't know. Oh, fuck, that's right. But I'll leave the European stuff off. But I think the last one that really like jumped out at me was from King to a God, the Conway album. The extended,
I know that one.
Yeah, did you hear the extended version with the red cover?
I don't know. Check
it out, because the song Raw Oysters on there is so evil. It's so good, dude. Yeah, no, it tops all the rest of the other tracks on the regular album. Yeah, definitely check out that one.
All right. Sweet. That's great. That's helpful. That'll put me to work.
Man, I've really, really have come to like a lot of European hip hop.
Interesting.
I like stuff from France, the Netherlands, and I like some stuff from Germany.
Okay.
And part of the stuff, honestly, like why I like some of it so much is that even though I can't necessarily understand it, some of these fools, they're like me. They're first gen. In fact, actually, it's like they're first gen doing art in what is like technically not their native tongue, and it's like I relate. I feel it's like, oh, that's what I'm doing. So, and then not only that too, but some of these fools are actually rapping and putting Arabic in as well. Yeah. And it's like I mean, my family's trilingual on my father's side, and it's like I remember very well being young and hearing these types of conversations too. Where they're going out of 3 languages. So. It just it makes more sense, and it fits me, like cool. I get why it may not be for some, but
dude, fun trivia that I actually wanted to get into with Tommy on his interview. He lives in the blocks of Stockholm of Sweden. Well, you were there.
Yes.
Weren't you there?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Dude, he hangs out with a bunch of rappers, and he's been in a bunch of rap videos.
Yes, that's all true. Yep,
he sent them to me, and I wanted to ask him about them. And I wanted to put them up I wanted to put him up during his episode where he's like in the background with his tricks or his shirt, like some dudes. He plays a cop in one of them. Actually, he plays there's like a little cinematic thing where he brings some kid home, and he's like the white cop bringing the kid home, like in the project or something like that.
Dude, too funny. I love it. Of course it's Tommy, dude. Unreal. That's incredible, dude. Holy shit.
So we've digressed, but before we wrap it up and say goodbye, is there anything you'd like to add before anything you'd like to get out there before anything we didn't talk about that you want to touch on?
I mean, no, I can't really think of anything, I feel like touched about pretty much just about everything, I'd say, really.
Covered a lot of ground.
Without getting into like gory details, getting too boring.
Without name dropping. We avoided the name dropping. That was also my big question. Are we going to go the name dropping route, or are we going to just keep it?
No, I only wanted to bring up people that I think are important and matter. And
yeah. For sure.
Yeah, like
That's
yeah,
good name dropping. That's
it, man. I'm not trying to get up here and be like, "Here's my list." No. There's always room on the list to anyone watching, but I'm not really gonna show off the list. So
yeah. Okay, cool. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate it. It was really good to reconnect with you. And
yeah, absolutely. Holy shit, dude! Yeah, it's been incredible.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you, brother.
Thanks again for tuning into White Centipede Noise Podcast. Head over to the Patreon for more, including private episodes of Noise on the Run, exclusive photos, video, and audio related to the show, and discounts at the White Centipede Noise mail order. Your support is extremely appreciated and vital to keep the show going.